spent at the Comedy Central program. We're quick to give post-election analysis. We just went through an election. What? Yes. Your reaction to this election? Surprise?
Surprise.
Fear?
I mean, it all ties together. Well, fear, you know, here's what I would honestly say. I don't believe we are a fundamentally different country today than we were 2 weeks ago. The same country with all its grace and flaws and volatility and insecurity and strength and resilience exists today as existed 2 weeks ago. The same country that elected Donald Trump, elected Barack Obama. I feel badly for the people for whom this election will mean more uncertainty and insecurity. But I also feel like this fight has never been easy. And the ultimate irony of this election is the cynical strategy of the Republicans, which is our position is government doesn't work. We're going to make sure that it doesn't. But they're not draining the swamp. McConnell and Ryan, those guys are the swamp. And what they decided to do was, I'm going to make sure government doesn't work, and then I'm going to use its lack of working as evidence of it. Donald Trump is a reaction not just to Democrats, to Republicans. He's not a Republican. He's a repudiation of Republicans, but they will reap the benefit of his victory in all of their cynicism and all of their, I will guarantee you Republicans are going to come to Jesus now about the power of government. One of the things that I think struck me odd about this election, and maybe I just missed it, was nobody asked Donald Trump what makes America great. And that was the part that what are
wants
his...
to make America great again.
Yes.
Nobody said to him, well, what is it that makes America great?
Correct.
What is it you want to do
What is
that we're not doing now?
What are the metrics? Because it seems like, from listening to him, the metrics are that it's a competition. And I think what many would say is what makes us great is America is an anomaly in the world. There are a lot of people, and I think his candidacy has animated that thought that a multi-ethnic democracy, a multicultural democracy, is impossible. And that is what America, by its founding and constitutionally, is. Like every other
it's
state.
becoming more and more,
Correct.
year by year.
Correct.
But do you think it's healthy that we have this now, that in fact this battle, this real sense of finding out who we are?
Yes, but I also
and whether we have gone off track in some way.
Absolutely. You know, I would rather have this conversation openly and honestly than in dog whistles. You know, somebody was saying, there might be an anti-Semite that's working in the White House. And I was like, have you listened to the Nixon tapes? Like, forget about advising the president, the president. Like, have you read LBJ? Do you know our history? You know, this is, and we also have to caution ourselves to the complexity of that history. I thought Donald Trump disqualified himself at numerous points. But there is now this idea that anyone who voted for him has to be defined by the worst of his rhetoric. Like, there are guys in my neighborhood that I love, that I respect, that I think have incredible qualities, who are not afraid of Mexicans and not afraid of Muslims and not afraid of blacks. They're afraid of their insurance premiums. In the liberal community, you hate this idea of creating people as a monolith. Don't look at Muslims as a monolith. They are the individuals, and it would be ignorance. But everybody who voted for Trump is a monolith, is a racist. That hypocrisy is also real in our country. And so this is the fight that we wage against ourselves and each other, because America is not natural. Natural is tribal. We're fighting against thousands of years of human behavior and history to create something that no one's ever, that's what's exceptional about America, and that's what's, like, this ain't easy. It's an incredible thing.
It's an incredible thing. It's so nice to hear from him, Charlie, about this.
He's very reflective about the country and the election. Does not miss being at Comedy Central, but has a lot to say, and you know how much his voice was missed when you heard him.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very interesting points.
I like how he, rather than dismissing Trump or those who voted for him tried to explain and understand why they voted for him,
Exactly.
and not say, don't paint them as a monolith.
Yeah.
They're not worried about all these things that people are talking about in terms of Muslims and that. They're worried about insurance premiums.
It shows how people jump to conclusions. And Jon Stewart is basically saying, calm down, everybody think, that America is going to be okay.
He's fascinating, but he also talks about the Daily Show and all that went on in 16 years. So it's an interesting man with lots to say.
Did
And
you
we'll
believe
bring-
he doesn't miss it? Did you
I
believe
do
it?
believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe he's moved to another stage in
Yep,
his life.
I do too.
We will bring you more of our conversation with Jon Stewart and author Chris Smith next week. Their new book reveals the behind-the-scenes history of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart at the helm.